I said, the Hebrew character looks like for a mouth, it looks like the like a pa. What's the modern and the Bahalashwan Kwadash or Bahala Bayath in the alphabet, it will look like this, the pa, and the Chinese one, it was closed, but reading back, it says, for example, the Chinese word for large ship is a compound of three other words, 8 persons and boat. Then it says large ship equals 8 persons boat. All right. It says print, or I'm gonna skip down. It says Chinese symbols for these four words and at. I'm gonna skip down. It says this is a universal truth. Take the Chinese writing down to your favorite Chinese food restaurant and ask the staff what these words mean in English. See for yourself. Is unbelievable. But pretty much the point is that it says 8 persons in boat. All right, and reason being that it goes into this is because I'm gonna get this scripture right here. This is 1 Peter chapter 3, and we'll get verse 20. And it says, which sometime were disobedient, when once the long suffering of the Most High waited in the days of Noach, while the ark was preparing, wherein few, that is 8 souls, were saved by water. The like figure whereunto even baptism doeth also now save us, not the putting away of the filth of the flesh, but the answer of a good conscience toward the Most High by the resurrection of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Now let's read this in the NLT. All right, NLT, verse 20, it says, those who disobeyed the Most High long ago, when the Most High waited patiently while Noah was building his boat, only 8 people were saved from drowning in that terrible flood. All right, when the Lord brought the flood. All right, NLT for verse 21, 1 Peter 3 and verse 21, it says, and that water is a picture of baptism, which now saves you, not by removing dirt from your body, but as a response to the Most High from a clean conscience. It is effective because of the resurrection of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. So again, every culture, or every nation, every nation has a story of the flood. All right. And, going into Moab's culture, that's why they have right here, they got the 8, or they got the person and they got the boat, because the earth was repopulated, all right, with the sons of Noah. Let's get that real fast. This is Genesis chapter 10, and I'm gonna read verse 1 again. It says, now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and unto them were sons born after the flood. All right, I'm gonna read this right here. Verse 32, it says, these are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations and their nations, and by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. So every nation again has a story of the flood. So reading back, I'm gonna get this too. It's a lot, but I also wanted to get this too real fast. A lot. This is Genesis chapter 7, and we'll get verse 1. Because it's talking about the flood. It says, and the Lord said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. So Noah was the elect in his time. Verse 2, it says, of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of the beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female, of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And again, that was what we got in 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 20 to verse 21. It says, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according to all that the Lord commanded him. All right, and it says, and Noah was 600 years old when the flood of the waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters of the flood. And that was the 8 individuals that essentially was, delivered in that time. All right. So let's go into this real fast. I'm gonna read a little bit out of here. It says the Chinese alphabet is not the Chinese is not an alphabetic language. It says like most written languages in the world, it is a written language of pictures. All right, because when we look at the English language, it's the English language is ideologic. All right, so it gives you an idea. So when you think about, hey, it's a dog. What do dogs do? They bark. All right, well, you got a cat. Well, what do cats do? they meow, or they drink milk. So it gives you a little bit of an idea of what you're talking about, but it doesn't tell you what it does. Whereas in Hebrew, all right, when you read the word, all right, it tells you the function of it because of the characters. So when we look at the languages that's on the eastern side of the world, they have a little bit more. It's more similar to the Hebrew, to where it gives you a better of an idea as to what the function of it is. So the boat, what does it do? All right, well, when you think about it in the Chinese language, all right, it had the boat, it had the eight, and then it had the mouths. So boats essentially carry people. All right, and then it had a story, of Noah. All right, so it's a little bit more similar. It's not like the Hebrew language, but it's a little bit more similar when you put it into comparison as with the English, with it being a ideologic language. All right, so it says, like most written languages in the world, it is a written language of pictures. Author and physician Adeline Yin Na, in her book Chinese Cinderella, said of the written syntax of her native tongue, Chinese is a pictorial language, so it gives pictures. It says not a phonetic one. Phonetic pretty much goes into sounds. A cat, a dog, a frog. It says our words from images. It says the meaning of many characters is subtle and profound. It says other words are poetic and even philosophical. So they essentially, you're learning something from just by saying different words. All right, what you learn a lot more by just conversing in Hebrew, you see. But you'll learn a little bit from different Eastern cultures in their languages, because they're closer to the Hebrew. All right, but the Hebrew is the purest. All right, so it says Chinese is thought to be the world's oldest written language, dating back beyond which eat the meat, spit out the bones, because the timelines is off. But it says the Encyclopedia Britannica suggests that it be. Well, I'm gonna skip this. Um, it says, why is the dispersion of Babel important? From the time of the flood until the scattering of the nations, the whole earth was of one language and of one speech, the Hebrew, and people remain fearing. Well, that's another version, but we read that. But pretty much the point, the Chinese language, again, it's a pictorial, or it's a pictorial language. Pretty much, it has the images. All right, so it just shows how the it's a derivation of the Hebrew. All right, and we got the picture. All right, and the examples. All right, we got the examples as to how it's very similar to the Hebrew, but just pretty much the point. The whole earth was of one language and of one speech. All right, and that every nation has a story of the flood. We got that in this example right here. So let me go back. We got that in this example right here. We had the large ship talking about the ark. All right, had the eight. It has the person. Like I said, if I'm not mistaken, it might be a mouth. All right, and it has the boat. All right, and we got a couple precepts. So Adawan Tazah. Zabanaya Apollo's will. That was a beautiful edification through the spirit. Wadawan Tazah. Atham Yashlai Lata Wab, Lord's will. You all have a good night. Wa shalom lakam, which is peace unto you all. Shalom, shalom.